How does a kid who grew up dirt poor in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in America, watched his father get sentenced to 55 years, and came from a place where only 1% ever make it out, turn into a $100 million superstar while stuck on house arrest? We are talking about owning tigers. Real tigers. Military trucks. A $5.5 million mansion. Over $1 million in cars he wasn't even allowed to drive. $6 million in jewelry. All while he couldn't leave his front door, couldn't tour, couldn't perform, and somehow still made more money than rappers who were completely free. And now that he's finally off house arrest, he's projected to pull in another $60 million from his new tour alone. $60 million. That is NBA YoungBoy. And his rise is not just a rags to riches story. It is pure survival, a level of hustling most people will never understand. Today, we are breaking down how YoungBoy went from sleeping on couches and getting jumped in group homes to becoming one of the richest young artists in the industry. What he did behind those walls to build his empire was strategic, disciplined, and far smarter than people give him credit for. To understand how he pulled this off, you have to start where it all began.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, October 20th, 1999. Born Kentrell Deshaun Golden. His childhood wasn't just hard, it was extreme poverty. Not the we were struggling kind. The we don't know where the next meal is coming from kind. At 4 years old, he broke his neck in a wrestling accident. He had to wear a head brace until his spine healed, leaving the scars you still see on his forehead today. That was his first battle scar before he was even old enough for kindergarten. But that pain was nothing compared to what came next. His father, Jeffrey Staten, was sentenced to 55 years for robbery. YoungBoy grew up with no father figure, no guidance, nothing. His mother later moved away, leaving him with his grandmother, Alice Golden. She became everything, his stability, his protection, his entire support system. They were still broke, still living in one of the roughest parts of Baton Rouge. But she held the family together. Then, when he was 10, she passed away from heart failure. The one person who truly loved him was gone. YoungBoy was sent to a group home, and things turned darker. He said he would get jumped for no reason. Imagine losing your only anchor, and then being thrown into a place where you're attacked by kids just as lost as you are. That kind of trauma hardens you. He dropped out in 9th grade. At 14, he was arrested for robbery and sent to juvenile detention for 6 months. Most kids in that position either fold or get trapped in the cycle forever. But YoungBoy made a different decision. He started writing, and that's where the transformation began. In that cold juvenile detention cell, he wrote song after song after song, pouring all his pain, all his trauma, all his survival instincts into lyrics. That's where Life Before Fame was born. His first mixtape created in the darkness of confinement. That's when Lil Bro realized music was his only way out, not a dream, survival. Either make it with music, or end up dead or locked up forever like everyone else from his hood. So when YoungBoy got out of detention, he moved in with his homie NBA 33 and 33's mama Monique, who basically became his second mother. But now they had to survive. And survival in Baton Rouge meant one thing: whatever it takes type shit. YoungBoy and 3 got involved in criminal activities just to pay for studio time. It was robbing, hustling, doing what they had to do to record music. But here's what's crazy. YoungBoy knew music was his only ticket out. This wasn't no hobby game. This was life or death. In 2015, at just 15 years old, he dropped his first official mixtape, Life Before Fame, on YouTube. Then came Mind of a Menace, then Mind of a Menace 2, then Mind of a Menace 3. He was flooding YouTube with raw, authentic pain. Kids from the streets connected with it immediately because it was real. He wasn't making up stories. He was documenting his life for real. By 2016, his mixtape 38 Baby exploded on YouTube, racking up millions of views. The streets of Baton Rouge knew him. Then Louisiana knew him. Then the whole South knew him. This 16-year-old shorty who'd been sleeping on couches and eating when he could was suddenly getting millions of plays. But that's just the beginning, though. In 2017, everything changed. Mike Caron from Atlantic Records scouted him, and YoungBoy signed a 5-album deal worth $2 million with artist partner Group and Atlantic Records. $2 million, fam? For a kid who'd been dirt poor his entire life, this was generational wealth. This was the way out. The first thing YoungBoy did? He gave $20,000 in cash away in his neighborhood. Went back to the same streets that raised him and started passing out stacks to people who needed it. That's who he is, no cap. He never forgot where he came from. Real recognize real. A week after getting out of jail on another case in 2017, he dropped Untouchable. The song went viral. Then Outside Today dropped in 2018 and went quadruple platinum, hitting the Billboard Hot 100. His debut album, Until Death Call My Name, peaked at number 7 on the Billboard 200. YoungBoy was getting rich, and he was doing exactly what he said he'd do. He moved everybody out the hood. His mama, his siblings, his homies, everybody who held him down when he had nothing. He bought houses, paid bills, got people out of dangerous situations. NBA stood for Never Broke Again, and he made sure nobody around him would be broke again either. On that timing for real. But here's where it gets crazy, fam. With all that success came heat from the law, heavy heat. November 2016, YoungBoy got arrested by U.S. Marshals in Austin, Texas before a performance. He got charged with 2 counts of attempted murder after allegedly opening fire on a South Baton Rouge street. This was serious. At just 17, he was eligible to be tried as an adult in Louisiana, facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison. He sat in parish prison for 6 months awaiting trial. 6 months of his prime years locked in a cell, watching his career momentum potentially die. But here's where money changed everything. YoungBoy hired top lawyers, the best legal team money could buy, type shit. And in late August 2017, he appeared before Judge Bonnie Jackson. His lawyers worked magic. He pled guilty to a lesser charge of aggravated assault with a firearm and was released on $50,000 bail pending sentencing. He got a 10-year suspended sentence, which basically meant as long as he stayed out of trouble, he'd be free. Let me break it down for you. That's the power of money, gang. A poor kid with a public defender? He's doing life, but a kid with millions and top lawyers? He walks. That's the reality of the American justice system. No cap. Throughout the next few years, he kept catching cases. In February 2018, arrested before a concert in Tallahassee. Throughout 2019, more legal issues, probation violations, more arrests. But every time, he had the resources to fight back. Money became his shield against a system designed to destroy young black men from poverty. In September 2020, YoungBoy got arrested in Baton Rouge for illegal drug manufacturing and stolen weapons. Then, in 2021, he got arrested again but got involved in a car chase trying to escape police. He was facing serious federal gun charges that could have put him away for decades. But in July 2022, he was found not guilty of those September firearms charges. His lawyers, funded by his millions, got him acquitted. Fam. He was then released to house arrest in Utah, confined to his mansion while awaiting trial on federal charges from Louisiana. Here's the thing people need to understand. YoungBoy would still be in prison if he was broke. The only reason he's been able to fight all these cases, to get bail, to beat charges, is because he has money for the absolute best legal representation money can buy. Real talk, that's just how it is. Now here's where people started connecting the dots and realizing what YoungBoy was really doing, gang. In October 2021, YoungBoy moved to Utah with his girl, Jaslyn Michelle Hayes, and started his house arrest. Most people thought this would kill his career. How you gonna stay relevant when you're trapped in a house? How you gonna make money when you can't tour? Can't perform, can't even leave your property? YoungBoy said, watch me. According to celebrity manager Whack 100 and DJ Academics, NBA YoungBoy made between $50 million and $100 million in a single year while on house arrest. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. $100 million while locked in his house. That's some next level playa shit, no cap. How? Let me break this down for y'all. First, he sold part of his music catalog that he owned from Atlantic Records. Then he signed a massive deal with Capitol Records, reportedly worth between 40 and 60 million. But yo, that's not even the crazy part. The crazy part is his work ethic, fam. In 2023 alone, while on house arrest, YoungBoy released 121 songs. 121 songs, gang. That's more than Drake and Kendrick Lamar combined. He was dropping music faster than people could listen to it on that timing heavy. His YouTube channel was generating about 38% of his income in ad revenue alone. Over $4 million per year just from YouTube ads. His streaming numbers were insane. Over 15 billion total views across platforms. Every stream, every play, every view was putting money in his pocket type shit. While other rappers were touring and doing shows, YoungBoy was at home pumping out hit after hit after hit. He also resigned with Atlantic Records for a reported $60 million deal, then later moved to Motown after a bidding war. Labels were throwing money at him because they knew despite being on house arrest, he could deliver. And he did, for real. People in the industry couldn't believe it, fam. How is someone making $100 million while they can't even leave their house? But that's the power of the internet age. YoungBoy didn't need to tour. He had a direct connection to millions of fans through YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and social media. That's genius type shit right there. He flipped a situation that was supposed to destroy his career into the most profitable year of his life. Now that's what I call never broke again on God. So what does someone do when they make millions while trapped in a mansion? They buy absolutely insane stuff, that's what. And yo, when I tell you the stuff YoungBoy bought was wild, I mean wild, gang. Let's start with the tigers. Yeah, tigers, plural, fam. In October 2017, YoungBoy posted a video on Instagram showing him sitting on his living room couch with a white tiger cub next to him. A white tiger cub is incredibly rare. It's a genetic mutation that only occurs in 1 out of every 10,000 Bengal tiger births. But YoungBoy didn't just have one tiger. He had at least 2, a white one and an orange one. That's some Mike Tyson type shit right there, no cap. Rick Ross even revealed that the tiger ended up at his mansion for a while through Meek Mill. Eventually, the white tiger got seized by Louisiana authorities for neglect and had to be rescued, which is sad but real. Then there's the horses. YoungBoy learned to ride horses in Eden, Utah during his house arrest. For someone from the streets of Baton Rouge, owning and riding horses represented a completely different lifestyle. Country, free, peaceful type shit. But the craziest purchase? A tank, yes. An actual military tank parked at his multi-million-dollar mansion, gang. When most rappers buy exotic cars, YoungBoy bought a literal tank. That's some gangsta shit right there for real. Speaking of cars, YoungBoy's car collection was valued at over $1.3 million. He owned a McLaren GT, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan with white exterior and blood-red interior, a Mercedes-Benz Dodge Hellcats, a Bentley Continental GT, a Tesla Model S, a Corvette Z06, and a Suburban. Most of his cars were white. That became his signature type shit. But here's the twist that's actually sad, fam. In a Billboard interview, YoungBoy said he wanted to get rid of all his cars because he couldn't drive them due to house arrest. That's the tragedy of his wealth, gang. He has millions of dollars in cars sitting in garages, but he can't drive them. All this wealth, all this luxury, but he's still confined. That's some real shit right there. His Utah mansion was 808 square feet on 1.46 acres with 5 5-car garages, a heated driveway, an elevator, a pool, and panoramic views. He called it Gravedigger Mountain and even released a whole project named after it. In February 2024, he listed that mansion for sale at $5.5 million. After spending more than 2 years confined there, he'd made hundreds of millions while trapped but was ready to move on. But yo, here's where the story gets even crazier. After all that time on house arrest, after making $100 million while locked down, YoungBoy finally got his freedom back. And what's he doing now? He's on tour, fam, and not just any tour. He's projected to make around $60 million from his current tour. 60 million, gang, let that sink in. Think about that for a second. He made $100 million while he couldn't tour. Now that he can tour, he's making another $60 million just from performing. That's $160 million in a short period of time. At 25 years old, that's absolutely insane. No cap, the demand for YoungBoy's shows is crazy because his fans been waiting years to see him perform live. While he was on house arrest, his fan base only grew bigger. His YouTube numbers kept climbing. His streaming kept breaking records. So when he finally announced tour dates, tickets sold out fast. Venues are packed. Fam, arenas filled with thousands of people who connected with his music during the darkest times of their lives. People who related to his pain, his struggle, his story. And now they finally get to see him in person after years of him being locked down. That $60 million tour projection shows you the power of YoungBoy's fan base. These aren't casual listeners. These are die-hard fans who will pay whatever it takes to see him perform. And YoungBoy is giving them everything they've been waiting for type shit. So let's do the math real quick. $100 million from house arrest activities plus $60 million from touring. That's $160 million, gang. From a kid who grew up with nothing, who was sleeping on couches, who was getting jumped in group homes, who lost his grandmother at 10 years old. That's the definition of never broke again, for real. All the wealth, success, and sold-out tours couldn't give YoungBoy the one thing that matters most, peace of mind. In a Billboard interview, he opened up, "I'm terrified of people. I'm very scared of people. I'm very shy." Think about that. A man making $160 million selling out arenas, terrified of people. He explained, "People are cruel. We can't control ourselves. You never know if someone will do you." That paranoia comes from the life he grew up in, losing people to violence, always looking over his shoulder. Money can't fix that kind of trauma. YoungBoy has at least 11 children with different women, becoming a father at just 16. His kids, Caden, Casey, Kamiri, Talon, Armani, Cody Capri, Alice, Kentrell Jr., and Clemenza represent everything he never had. But the trauma he carries affects how he moves as a father. Despite legal troubles, he's given back. In 2019, while incarcerated, he and his team funded an annual back-to-school drive, providing children with supplies and necessities. That's real recognized real. Now, imagine telling the 10-year-old kid who lost his grandmother, got beaten in group homes, and had nothing, that by 25 he'd make over $160 million, own tigers, tanks, mansions, and be one of the biggest rappers in the world. He probably wouldn't have believed it, but for NBA YoungBoy, impossible became inevitable. His story isn't just rags to riches, it's about survival. He went from dirt poor to earning $100 million on house arrest, then another $60 million from touring. He went from sleeping on couches to owning $5.5 million mansions, from wearing head braces to wearing $1 million chains, from juvenile detention to wealth most people won't see in 10 lifetimes. But his story also shows the limits of money. It bought him freedom from poverty and incredible things, but it couldn't erase pain or give him peace of mind. The kid from Baton Rouge who had nothing built an empire that even house arrest couldn't stop. Now that he's free and touring, he's proving the hustle never stops. The marathon continues. He truly is never broke again. What do you think of YoungBoy's story? Did he make the smartest moves, or could he have done better? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching all the way through. I really appreciate the support. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. I'm out.